Sometimes when they will display data, you got to be careful because sometimes the graph might look like it's saying one thing when that's not at all maybe what the data says, maybe conveying the wrong message. So here's a problem. It says world population in billions. Describe what is misleading in the visual display of data below. As you look at this picture, looks like it's a stair step, 1 billion, 2 billion, 3 billion, 4 billion, that they wanted to go in increments of 1 billion people. Look at the years. This first one is 1904. No. Is that 1804? I think so. As I zoomed in, I could see it quite better. 1804, then I go to 1927. So over 100 years passed between 1 billion and 2 billion people. Then 1960, 3 billion people. 1974, 4 billion people. 13 years later, 5 billion people. What is misleading from the choices? The bars on the vertical axis curve around the globe instead of being on a straight line. Well, that's true, but that's not misleading. B, part of the time frame on the horizontal axis of the graph has been cut off. No, nothing's cut off. That's okay. C, the title does not explain what is being displayed. The title's okay, world population in billions. D, the time intervals on the horizontal axis do not represent equal amounts of time. That is true, they do not. And that could be misleading upon glancing at this graph, that you're thinking, okay, maybe there's a problem here, and maybe because of the population increasing, but maybe it's not quite the problem they're trying to portray. At the bottom of the page, I have one that I wrote in, that I made up. I totally made it up, the information, but I said, okay, from 1950 to the year 2000, 50 years, so the value of the dollar has shrunk by 50%. Now from those years, it's probably more than that. I'm thinking of what people in 1950 could buy with a $1 bill versus what people in the year 2000 could buy with the $1 bill. But I've said 50%. And so the picture that might have run with this information shows in 1950 what a dollar could have been worth. And my other picture, I said, well, let me cut the height in half and let me cut the width in half, because I'm thinking I cut it by 50%, but I didn't really cut it by 50%. What did I cut it by? I cut it by 75%. This picture for the year 2000, I could fit 4 of them in the picture for the year 1950. So that would be misleading about such a graph like that. Number 28 from the material. There's a circle graph. If you look at the side here, it says country A, 29%. This graph is the percentage of world's computers in use by country. Country A is 29%, but what about that portion right there for country A? they've given it about 50% of the picture. So that's misleading. If you look at the choices, the only choice that makes sense for what's wrong with the graph is that the percentages do not add up to 100%. On a circle graph, everything should add up to 100%, 100% of the circle.